Hello, gentlemen. If you're currently married or in a relationship or seeing a woman and it feels like every single day is really hard and it feels really hard to love her and you have no idea what she needs or feels like an emotional war zone, you might be dealing with a woman with BPD, or what I call borderline personality disorder. Now, I'm not here to diagnose by any means, and there could be a lot of tendencies here and there that can seemingly sound like she or the person has BPD, but I'm just here to give you a couple of tips as to how to even deal with the tendencies if you are going through it. Now, it's not always just breaking up, and so let's get straight to it. Why it happens, how it affects you, and also what you can do about it, obviously. And what I'm specifically talking about are the type of relationships that feels like the rules are always changing. The explosions are coming without any warning. You wake up the next morning not knowing what kind of version of a woman you're gonna get, or what kind of, if you have daughters, what kind of daughter you're gonna get, or if you have a mother who has BPD, what kind of mother you're gonna get. Everything is twisted. She gets everything twisted. What I want to first validate is obviously the fact that you're not crazy. Borderline personality disorder is one of the most psychologically disorienting experiences that any human being, and you gentlemen, if you've experienced it or experiencing it, can go through in any relationship. And specifically in this video, we'll break down why it feels this way, how it impacts you, and how might you have actually influenced it, enabled it in a way that you can actually take a little bit of accountability back, and next actually take more control of it. Maybe reverse some of the tendencies, because that's really important, or else life will just feel like a dark cloud, right? And all my clients complain about this. I hear you. I sense it, and that's why I'm making this video. But before I begin, hello everyone. My name is Christy. I'm a therapist. I'm a relationship coach for men. And in this channel, we are trying to close the gap between men and women. I'm not trying to be an it girl for you, gentlemen. I'm trying to give you a good perspective as to how to find a good match, how to actually lead properly in relationships, and how to actually give her a sense of safety without losing your own identity and your own mental health as a man. So if you are old here, welcome back. This one's going to be an exciting one. And if you're new here, please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button and that like button. It obviously helps with the algorithm. And again, it helps with me understanding what kind of content you guys like watching, what kind of problems are you guys going through, so that I can make more videos to better your life. Number one, let's go over the common complaints about women with BPD, whether you've diagnosed her or she's actually diagnosed. What are some of the things that a lot of our clients, our followers, say? And tell me if you relate to this. 1 minute, she loves me. The next, she's accusing me for ruining her life. I get that a lot, probably 99% of the time. She says I don't care, but when I show up, I'm never good enough. I'm not good enough. Nothing is good enough. I say sorry, it's not enough. I ask her about her day, it's not enough. I'm constantly apologizing for things that I also didn't do. Very common complaint. Oh, well, you were late for work because you didn't care about me. You just wanted to get back at me for the time that I didn't, do XYZ. It happens a lot. Firstly, what I want to highlight is these problems that happen in a relationship aren't just emotional fluctuations or what people call the highs and lows of BPD. They're identity level crises in the woman. Women with BPD often struggle with fear of abandonment, what I call black and white thinking. You're either perfect or evil. You're either a great man, the man, a high value man, or just low value. And very lastly, emotional dysregulation, where every disagreement feels like a betrayal. It feels like you are disloyal and not on her side, not seeing her side. And it can feel very, very, very draining. It can feel like you're dealing with a child, right? They can only see things for where it's at, what happened, and her feelings. Now, according to behavioral psychology, this system is called what I call intermittent reinforcement. The same psychological mechanism that keeps humans, people, going back to those slot machines that you love. Sometimes you don't understand how one person can actually sit at a slot machine for that long. Now, welcome intermittent reinforcement. Now, again, whether she's doing this intentionally as a punishment or to control you, or she's subconsciously doing it and not realizing it, I believe it's the same thing. However, though, why you're stuck in this cycle and you're stuck actually trying to figure it out, I hope you figure it out right now. It's more of a you thing than a her thing. That unpredictability creates what I call trauma bonding or bonding and not without intimacy. And that trains you to keep chasing without peace while you're losing your own sense of reality. And so again, if she's doing this intentionally or not, it's the same thing. But what is BPD and what is the archetype of women with BPD? I hope you understand it a little bit more and you relate to this if you're going through this. Number 2, how does this affect the person in the relationship or you gentlemen? How does it play out for you? For a lot of our clients and a lot of men specifically, it starts very subtly. You start making small compromises, avoiding really hard topics that you know is going to flip the switch. Watching your tone, you start watching your tonality a little bit more, fixing problems that she actually created. And over time, if you're in this for too long and you're in this cycle for too long, gentlemen, you become and you develop something called chronic hypervigilance. You're constantly scanning for her moods. And in social psychology, this is called reactive adaptation, where you start adjusting who you are to manage the emotional landscape of the other person, and her emotional landscape is never predictable. Oh, surprise. And so you can't really adapt, right? It's kind of exciting, but it's kind of also draining. And here's the cost for a lot of clients that we've spoken with. You lose your sense of trust in her, you lose your sense of trust in yourself, you start doubting your memory, you start thinking you have short-term memory loss, you start thinking like you're too sensitive, too emotional, and that you're not actually logical at all. You start doubting your needs and you feel completely demasculated, and most of all, like the woman in your life is the boss and you're not. And that can be the most depleting, identity destroying feeling that any man and a lot of our clients have said they have gone through. And so evolutionarily, men, and speaking for you, you are wired, and don't want to put words into your mouth, but generally speaking here, you're wired to protect, lead, and stabilize. But in a relationship with someone or a woman with BPD or even BPT tendencies, manipulative tendencies, emotions that go high and low and been extremely volatile, that instinct for you to protect, lead, and stabilize gets hijacked. What that means is you use that theory as a man, it gets hijacked because it is your sole purpose, and you make a lot of misaligned assumptions of how you should react and behave around that trigger. And so instead of leading, you're managing just the chaos, and instead of building, you're just surviving. And so if this feels similar to you or familiar to you and you are in a relationship like this, you can feel free to book a private and confidential call with one of our team members, because first, it's very important to work through these dynamics, not change you in a way where you have to think differently, but actually more so understand how you're wired biologically, how you think, so that you can communicate to her a little bit more, set your standards with a little bit more assertion and certainty. And so yeah, truly important. Okay, the link is down in our description, because good therapy and therapy that we practice and hold in our mission is to get you to a point where you understand yourself with so much discernment and so much confidence that you don't have to survive by reacting every single day. You know what you have to take accountability for, and you know where you messed up and kind of sacrificed yourself and kind of trained her to be entitled per se and lead again. That's truly important. Number 3, the more sensitive one, and the one that I was kind of scared to kind of go over, but it's very important. How you gentlemen may have enabled this to happen. How have you enabled a woman who may not have had BPD to now use her strategies to get what she wants even more? And possibly a woman who, now I'm not here to diagnose, but may have BPD as a diagnosis and have nothing but a breakup or divorce be the only reason or the only solution to things? That's a really hard question and a really, really important piece of the video that I want to go over. So first, gentlemen, how the F did you get here? The truth is, many men who end up in relationships with women with BPD come from their own wounds, or you may have done things that exacerbates her bad behaviors of her wounds. And number 1, childhood environments where love was unstable may have sounded like you. Early conditionings to be the fixer rather than the emotional caretaker. Emotions don't matter. Just fix it. Ever heard of that in your life? A belief that a woman's chaos is something to soothe, not confront. That one's a really important one. You put the pacifier on, right? Get her to shush a little bit, give her what she wants, it'll be fine the next day. Telling you, no, don't do that. Women like to be called out. Good women want to know when they are wrong. Challenge her a little bit. And if you are not going to do that, you're just training me to be the most entitled princess ever to exist, right? Can you blame me? Probably not, right? So please don't continue doing that. And let's give a behavioral psychology kind of perspective. And I want to enmesh attachment theory a little bit if you've heard of that. You may have enabled her behaviors by avoiding conflict to keep peace, over-explaining to prove your good intentions. This one happens a lot. Or letting things go to show her somehow non-verbally that you're the good guy. It's like you don't talk about it. You hope that she knows you're sacrificing and you're being kind by not speaking up, when in actuality, it's not appreciated and she didn't even know. Very last one, accepting blame to prevent emotional explosions. Happens all the time. Comment down below. Give me a yes, yes, yes if this happened to you or you're doing it, because this is how you enable her very bad behaviors. But the more you accommodate, the more the cycle intensifies. In a social psychology lens, this is what I call the co-regulation gone wrong, completely gone wrong. Instead of two people calming each other down, she dysregulates and you absorb the impact, all of it. And so whenever she dysregulates or uses any reasons to dysregulate, you absorb every single impact. And so obviously she'll make up all the reasons in her brain to make you absorb the impact. If you don't put a foot down, she's gonna think everything in her life is your fault. Ugh, I said it. Sorry, I completely said it. And what I want to say here is it's not your fault, but it is your responsibility to reclaim some of that power, and also look for a partner that means well, but maybe just lost the trajectory a little bit, right? So yeah, women do not respect men who they don't have to earn respect from. Number 4, what can you do about it, gentlemen? Let's get to the point, right, Christy? What can men do about it? Number 1 sounds cliche, but it's accepting reality. It's either accepting the fact that you're dealing with a woman who has princess tendencies, who has BPD tendencies, or you are going to completely plummet. If you're trying to change her to be vice versa, or you're not at least accepting that that's your reality right now, it can feel like you're 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And no amount of slow progress is ever going to happen if you don't start accepting that reality. You're not dealing with healthy communication issues. You're dealing with a partner who has core instabilities in identity, emotions, emotional dysregulation, and perception. And there's no amount of logic or love that will fix that. Second, focus on your leadership. That is the most important piece that I want to kind of wrap up with. Staying in the relationship or not, that means you need to understand you lost your way as well as a man. You lost your grip. You sacrificed too much. You didn't show up as a man that you actually wanted to be. And it starts by rebuilding a sense of awareness about what kind of boundaries you actually didn't know you should have had. And then now you start sticking with them without guilt. Start getting crystal clear with what kind of relationship you actually want, and I'm not talking about the best relationship that is not achievable, but okay, what do I have now and where does it need to be in the next 2 months for it to be manageable and for me to move forward and continue this relationship for another 2 months? Manageable. What do you want? And very lastly, doing inner work and stop being the emotional shock absorber that you're so used to being and behaving and reacting in your everyday life. And what I want to highlight is in evolutionary psychology, it has shown women to respond to men in a way where they are responsible for her safety, that they need to choose a strong, self-led man and resilient, resourceful men in order for her to survive. But you've been stuck trying to manage her emotions, and you've given away that sense of leadership because now you're teaching her to always come to you for every single problem in her life. And that's not what is actually going to create safety for her. You've responded differently. Your theory behind it was well warranted and well understood, and I can see your point of view, but I think you executed a little bit wrong per se. And so your mental health and your discernment and clarity about who you are as a man is much more important in creating safety for a woman than just giving her what she wants and reacting and being there for her in every single turbulent time of her life. That's not how you do it. If you're going through this type of relationship and you're not ready to call it quits or throw in the towel, and you want to understand what you can possibly do in your relationship to kind of take some of that power back and delegate some of the emotional toll and responsibilities that she's put on you back to her, feel free to book a private call with one of our therapists and we can break it down for you. And I'm not trying to change you by any way. I'm not trying to feminize you in any way. I'm just trying to get clear with what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. That is it. So click the link in our description and you can book a call with us. So wrapping up the video right here, key takeaway, gentlemen, not trying to blame you for anything by any means, but if you are trying to make things work with a woman who has BPD tendencies, just understand that she's going through a lot. She has a lot of traumas, a lot of triggers, a lot of embedded problems, and if she was in front of me, I would be discussing a whole multitude of different reasons that she can reconnect with herself, reconnect with her identity as a woman. All right, that wraps it up for us. Gentlemen, if you found this video helpful, I hope you really start reflecting and understanding that it is not all your fault. And this video wasn't supposed to blame you by any means, but in all relationships, there are parts where we abandon ourselves for the sacrifice of the greater good, and that's not how it should have been, right? Yes, we should both be sacrificing for each other, but when it feels like you are just the one sacrificing, it's time to take some power back, okay guys? So comment down below, what did you learn? What kind of symptoms do you feel like your partner is showing? What kind of behaviors have you enabled in order to survive in your relationship or marriage? Very curious to hear from you guys. Until next time, bye guys. Hi everyone, if you enjoyed our content, don't forget to follow us on TikTok and IG where we post daily and YouTube where we post weekly.